I have to welcome you, Frank Traynor. Thank you so much.
I hope the introduction wasn't more funnier than my story, but we'll see. We'll see. Hi. Good afternoon. It's pretty early for me. I hope it's not so early for you. So yeah, I have three things in common with Superman. The first one is that I do believe in the American dream. I guess mostly because growing up in Argentina, I was fed American culture through every movie, music, book, comic book that I ever read. So eventually I was like, I just want to move there. It seems to be much more fun than my country, right? So I work in advertising, and back in 2011, while I was still working back in Argentina, one day my boss comes into my office and asks me to go to Miami for 1 week to work with all the top creatives of all the advertising agencies in the Latin American network to pitch and win a huge new client with a huge international bank. And this is, of course, a great opportunity for me to come and network and meet people and maybe, get a job in the US and finally move here and have my dream come true. But I also know that he's not asking me because I'm the most talented creative they have in the Argentinian office. It's not like somebody went to their office and asked my bosses, hey, we need to send someone to Miami to represent our office. And they both looked at each other and at the same time went, let's send Frank! And then they jumped and high-fived in the air. And no, that's not how it happened. Actually, my boss came into my office with a face of defeat, complete defeat, and just went, please tell me you have a passport with a tourist visa to go to the US because I don't know who else to ask anymore. And luckily I did. So I came and I can't fuck this up because it's a great opportunity for me, but that is also something that I tend to do. So we leave on a Sunday because we have to start working on Monday morning, and at the airport I meet the guy that I'm traveling with. We're not from the same team, so we don't really know each other at all. All I know is that besides both of us being advertising creatives, we're both musicians, mostly because he won't stop bragging about his band being on MTV, as I tell him how my band brought 15 people to our last concert. He also tells me that he doesn't know anyone in Miami, and I tell him that I do have some friends there, and I'm going to see them that night when we arrive, and of course I invite him to tag along because I may not be on MTV, but at least I have friends. So that night after we check in at the hotel, we go to my friend's house and we hang out there and we have a lot of good times. And before leaving, I remember that my friend told me that he has a Vespa scooter that I can borrow to move around Miami that week because I have no car. And I have never ridden a motorcycle before in my life, but this is a Vespa. It's pretty much an overweight bicycle. How hard can it be, right? So before leaving his apartment, I asked him to teach me how to ride it. And we go to the garage of the building, and before going, I grab the helmet and I put it on my head as a joke, because who needs a helmet to ride a fat bicycle, right? You'll see. Once in the garage, he tells me, so it's pretty simple. It's like driving stick. Do you know how to drive stick? And I'm like, do I know how to drive stick? What kind of question is that to ask a man? Do I know how to drive? Of course I've got to know how to drive stick. So I get on the Vespa, and I expect it to go nice and easy, like a car. But in a second, I'm going at 1,000,000 miles per hour towards a black BMW that I really can't afford at all, and I have no insurance. And I suddenly remember my friend Neville told me how to stop the Vespa. And all I can think of doing is jumping off, hitting really hard this concrete pillar with my head that I luckily protected the helmet as a joke, right? And then fall into the ground even harder. I get up with a good old bullshit, I'm okay! My entire body is in pain. But I decide not to go to the hospital that night because my coworker who's there with me is freaking out. Because he thinks that if we go to the ER, the doctors are going to call the cops. Because yes, I did smoke some weed before riding the Vespa, which makes absolutely no sense. Why would the doctors call the cops because I smoke? Why would they know I smoked some weed before learning how to ride the Vespa in a garage? I mean, this guy is more successful than me. He's been on MTV. He's supposed to be smarter than me. But you know what? I agree with him because I don't want to be proved wrong at the wrong time in front of the cops. And also, I don't want to get any of us in trouble at work. So I have to come up with some sort of lie to keep us out of trouble at work. And that's the second thing that I have in common with Superman. I can't lie. I don't know if you guys know from the movies and the comic books, but Superman, one of the things he has is that he can't lie. Which is why his attempt at hiding his real identity is so dumb. He says, okay, I'm gonna put on some glasses and I'm gonna be a reporter and then harass a coworker into being my wife, and which is a dumb lie. Like the lie that I come up with right there and then when I tell my coworker, listen, don't worry about it. Listen, everyone at work knows that we're not friends, so we're gonna say that you were not with me. Don't worry about it. You were on your own. I was with my friend riding the Vespa, and he was the one driving, and I was sitting behind him, and we were going a little fast maybe, and we went over a speed bump, and I fell backwards. You just go to work tomorrow and tell them that that happened, and that I'm gonna go to the ER tomorrow when the 2 puffs of weed wear off, and then go to work the next day. And he agrees. And then we go back to the hotel, and he helps me get to my room, and once in my room, there's one more thing that I need from this guy. Now, this is basically a man that I met that day in the morning for the first time in my life. But before he leaves my room, I go, can you help me take off my pants? I can't do it on my own. And as he reluctantly starts to do so, I add, well, I guess we're gonna have to lie about this too now, right? To which he doesn't laugh at all. The next day I go to the ER and I find out that I broke my collarbone, 2 ribs, and the head of the femur where it connects to the hip. Being the Man of Steel is not the third thing that I have in common with Superman, clearly. And then I learned that the US has an opioid crisis for a really good reason, because the doctor gives me these amazing painkillers. I can't even remember the name, that's how good they were. But they do give me the energy and the strength to every day wake up, walk the 7 blocks between the hotel and the office, work for 8 hours straight, keep up the lie about the accident, network to try to get a job in the US and move here, and then walk the 7 blocks back to the hotel, get a slice of pizza and plumb it on the bed, only to get up the next morning and do it all again every day the rest of the week. And it worked. We ended up winning the account, and my bosses back in Argentina got a call saying that I did an awesome job. Well, we did an awesome job. You know, so at this point, I'm like, maybe my plan worked out. Maybe I am actually a great liar, and maybe I will get a job and move to the US after all and have my dream come true. I mean, I am here right now after all, right? But no, because that's when my arrogance really got out of control. And a couple of weeks after being back in Argentina, one of the guys in my team tells me that, that night after the accident, after that guy left you in your room, he went back to his room and he called the VP and he told him all the truth about your accident. Everyone knows what happened. You're lucky you didn't get fired, but do say goodbye to getting a job in the US now. And he was right. I didn't get a job at that time. And, I thought, that guy sold me out. I thought that, taking off my pants, built an unbreakable bond between us. But I guess not. I didn't get a job back then, but a year and a half later, another company in the US that didn't know that I don't take work trips seriously offered me a job here in Los Angeles, and I moved here to work as an advertising creative. And the visa that they gave me at the time was the O1 visa. That's the definition of that visa is alien with extraordinary abilities. And that is the third thing that I have in common with Superman. Thank you so much.